This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2023 Flagstaff E-PRO, model number 19FBS. Okay, so this is not a floor plan video, it's a how-to video, so I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work, okay? So you have regular scissor type stabilizers that use a 3/4 inch crank. You have a power awning with LED strip. Some power right there, and then you have this rail right here. The rail is for the griddle, and there's also a table. So the griddle, this was the rack for it, and then the griddle goes on the rack, right? And you plug it in with this LP hose with a quick connect right here. One end goes to the back of the griddle, the other end goes right here to the quick connect under there. That's how you get LP to it. And of course, this steel table can hang next to it if you want it to. Okay, so you have this is your furnace vent, of course. This is just in case you wanted to purchase a solar panel kit to charge the battery. It's made by Go Power. That's just an option. Of course, you have two deep cycle marine batteries wired together to output 12 volt. You're just doubling the storage capacity. You have two LP tanks with automatic changeover regulator. You have a power tongue jack, so you have up and down, and then you have a hitch light on it. Now if it ever fails, you can use the same crank that you use for the stabilizers. This one right here, actually. It's a 3/4 inch crank, and you can pull this piece out here by pulling this pin, and then you can go straight down through here and pull this rubber plug out. Pull the rubber plug out, and you can go right onto the hex, and you can actually operate it manually if it happens to fail. So you can always get yourself out of trouble, even if you have issues with it. So you can always get hitched and unhitched. So that's a good feature. Now, when it comes to your bike rack, one bike hangs on each side. So they ship it like this, but you will, every other one of these, you'll move to the other side, right? So you've got two on each arm on each side. And one bike hangs here, the other one hangs there, okay? This is just a docking light for the front. You have your power cord here, 30 amp cord, 30 feet long. You have a dump hose there. This is a foot. You have a wheel on there now, but you can put this foot on if you choose to. That's a reducer to reduce your shore cord down to a 20 amp if you need to plug it in at home. All right. When it comes to water, the most common way to get water to the trailer is through the city water hookup right here. Now, if you're camping someplace that doesn't have city water, you're boondocking or whatever, you can pre-fill the fresh water tank right there, and then just use the onboard pump to pump the water. Everything would work just as though you had city water. You'd just be pumping from the tank. I'll show you where the pump switch is when we get inside. Okay. This is to draw antifreeze in. You have to educate yourself a bit about winterizing the trailer. There are bypass valves on the back of the water heater, like all trailers have. Also, this is your water heater is both gas and electric. The switches are inside the trailer. This is your gas valve here. There's an electric heating element behind here. Never run the water heater on the electric or gas without water in the tank. So this is where you drain it right here. It takes an 1 16" 6-point socket. So if you drain it, because you're not going to be camping for a while, always remember to refill it before you turn it on. That's important, okay? So make sure you never run it dry and never work on it, drain it, dump it, never do anything to it while the water's hot. Let it cool down. This slide out is commonly referred to as a Schwintek, just in case you need to know. It's owned by a company called Lippert now, but people still refer to it as a Schwintek. They'll know what you're talking about. Here you have a outside shower / sprayer. This is just our cord on here right now, but that's where your power cord hooks up to. This is the black tank flush. So you have your two valves here. You have your gray tank valve, and then the larger one is the black tank valve, toilet water and waste. So after you dump the black valve, you leave the valve open, like it says on the sticker here. Leave your dump valve open, then you can put your hose at the dump station on there, turn it on, and it'll spray out the inside of your tank, clean off the sensors, that sort of thing. So it's a really good thing to do. Just make sure you leave that valve open so you don't build up too much pressure. That housing tells us it's pre-wired for a backup camera. It takes a Furrion backup camera kit, if you ever want to add that on. You have a ladder built in. It's actually removable, but you can access the roof very easily, which is great because the manufacturer states every 60 days or so you should inspect your roof. Make sure there's no cracking or separation at any of the sealant. Make sure there's no damage to any of the roofing attachments or roofing material by, you know, low branches or road debris, anything like that. So make sure you stay up keep up with what's happening on your roof. You want to always be aware of any issues up there. If you see anything that needs to be dealt with, deal with it, okay? All right, so this is your power converter right here. This has a power converter which converts AC to DC power. It also has a power inverter. Here's the switch for it. I'll show you that in a minute. That goes the other way. It converts DC to AC power. All right, so we'll start with the converter. So this has regular, when you're plugged into shore power, you have regular 110 AC circuit breakers here, and they're labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC on this side, right? And you got 12 volt fuses there, and they're labeled. When you're plugged in, it's going to sense how much energy your battery up front needs, and always keep it charged, okay? While we're here, this is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be glowing green like it is. If not, get it serviced. Okay? Now that was your power converter. So the inverter, which is actually behind here, I don't know if we can see it very well. Well, we can't see it right at that point, but this inverts power. So it takes the 12 volt DC from your batteries. That's why you have two mainly, so you have extra storage. And if you turn it on, it'll send AC current. This is when you're not plugged in now. You're out in the middle of nowhere. But it'll send AC current to the plugs. So you could, let's say over here, so you can run an appliance, an AC appliance like a blender or a hair dryer or something like that. You can run it off of the battery by inverting the power, okay? Never leave this on inverting power when you don't need to. You can just shut it off. You hold it in for a few seconds to shut it off. See the light go out there. So unless you're going to be inverting, you don't need to turn it on. But that's to get to operate an appliance that is 110 AC. And if you don't have 110 AC, it inverts the DC power from the battery to 110 AC, okay? Hopefully I explained that well enough. So over here is your, go all the way around here, is your solar controller for your solar panel on the roof. So the only button you have to worry about here, A, you don't have to worry about it because it considers both batteries as one. So B would be what you use, the button you use. So right now we got 13.7 volts in the system, which is perfect. You're gaining 1.2 amps from the sun. You see the sun with the arrow pointing towards the solar panel. So it's a cloudy day, so you're not gaining that much, but you're still gaining, so it stores it in the battery. Now if it ever flashes FUL and it keeps flashing and you can't operate the buttons, it's not broke. It's telling you that the batteries are totally charged. There's no more room for storage in there, and so it shut the panel off until the energy level in the battery drops, and it'll go right back to normal. Okay, 100% charged, 8 amp hours right now. Okay, and back to 13.8 volts. So there's an app for this, and it's always in the packet, which is where does he have the packet? Right here in this bag here, you have a packet. You have all the literature for all these different components. You can also go to their websites and look at like go to GoPower and look at their videos and stuff too if you want to learn a bit more about it. There's also an app for this, like I stated. This right here is just this is the furnace. It's just an analog, but it's a furnace thermostat. It's all the way over. In order to turn it on, you want to click it, and then you go back off like that to shut it off, okay? When you shut it off, it'll still run for a few minutes to cycle through, okay? So you can learn more about the solar controller from the literature or from manufacturers' videos. Well, I've got this open. You have this is just an inline filter to filter your water. This is a battery, or excuse me, it's not a battery. It's a wheel and tire monitor. So you can follow the directions and hook this up if you're interested. The monitor goes in the tow vehicle with you, and it'll tell you basically the pressure in your tires. It'll also tell you the temperature of your hub, and you can set alarms for it. You can do whatever you want with it. There's a ton of features. But if you do that, remember that it'll state on here somewhere in the directions, but on your wheels, inside the tire, directly across from the valve stem, on the other side, there is a sensor that's attached right to the wheel on the inside the tire. So that's where you'd put this real close to there while you're setting it up, right? So you're programming the right wheel. Just keep in mind that the sensor's right across on the other side of the wheel, attached to the wheel right across from the valve stem. So that's a tire monitor if you're interested, okay? Okay. So like I said, when you're plugged in, your power converter is going to be charging your battery. The sun through the solar panel is going to be charging the battery all the time. You know, so it depends on the conditions outside, but it can really crank 7 amps into it, or whatever it's capable of doing. So that's going to be adding to your battery. And also, when you're towing down the road, your tow vehicle's charge line will be charging the battery. So 3 different ways to keep the battery charged. Where to next? We'll keep over here. So your TV is on a swing out bracket. Always lock it into place. You see this cylinder here goes right in this clip. When you lock it up, you'll hear it snap into place, so that way it doesn't fly open and it won't get damaged. This is plugged into 12 volt right now, so it's a 12 volt TV. Always keep you can shut that off, right? But always keep that on. That's the digital signal booster, or you won't get a good picture if you don't keep it on. This is your TV remote. This is your stereo remote here. This is your Wi-Fi Ranger. So you're going to turn it on, give it about a minute, and basically it's a public Wi-Fi signal booster and router. So what you'll do is on all your family's devices, all your phones and tablets, whatever you have, you go to the Wi-Fi section, and you'll find this Tenton 1258. That's your Wi-Fi Ranger, right? So you'd make up a password for that so it logs on automatically, right? Then in a browser, you'll go to the control panel and you type in this address in a browser, this bottom line here. It'll take you there, and then for a password, there's a temporary password, change me now 1258, right? You'll make up your own password. But once you get logged onto that, you'll be able to see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, right? So then you'll be able to, let's say, pick out the campground Wi-Fi. If they gave you a passcode, you type it in. If it's just open, you would just attach to it, connect to it. And what this does, it gives you a really good signal, really good internet. It's a router, like I said, so it just gives your family better Wi-Fi. There's also a cellular function that people don't really use, but if you're interested, you can scan the code here and it'll take you right to their site. Again, there's literature on this, but there's also as usual, you can go to the Wi-Fi Ranger website, and they got tons of information there also. Okay, up here you have AM/FM radio. Okay, you have USB drive here, so you could put all your albums on a USB drive and take them with you. You've got an HDMI in here, so that's to go into the system. Let's say you got a portable Blu-ray player or something, you can go into the system real simple that way. You have Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly from your phone or your tablet. 2 speaker zones, 1 and 2. 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer. So it does everything you need and then some. Okay. Your range hood. Let me look out the door here. I don't know if I talked to you about that, or let me see. Or just walked right past it. Right here, if I didn't tell you this, I can't remember. This is the range hood vent here. Right now it's shut. But if you're going to be venting to the outside using the fan in the range hood, you want to just open it up like this, so it flaps freely. That way it'll vent to the outside. When you're traveling or in storage, you can just snap it shut, right? But remember, if you're venting, to open it up so it'll vent to the outside. Okay, so this has a built-in fan, like I just said, right there, plus it has a light. All right, When it comes to your range, always travel with this top closed. And it's very simple. You're just going to go to, well, let's do it this way. These three knobs here are for the 3 burners. This is your sparker. You turn it clockwise to spark it. And then this is for your oven. So basically you're just going to go like that. Very simple. Okay? Then when it comes to lighting your oven, it's a little different. All the way at the back, there's a pilot light. Let me see if you can see it sparking back there. It looks like you can't. So you go to the oven knob and you'll go to the picture of the flame for pilot light, and then you depress it. Then you're going to light this, and once it lights, you'll see the flame light. You still hold this in, keep holding it in. You still hold it in for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you can go to operating temperature. The thing to remember is when you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay, so make sure this is closed when you're traveling. This here, everything's held together by number 2 square-headed screws, right? So I'm just going to show you this. This is where you access your water pump and your the back of your water heater with the valve. So you just remove this. Whoops. Come on now. Get it on there. There we go. Alright, that one's not behaving here. Aha! Let's try it again. There it goes. Okay. So, bear with me a second here. Should have had this already off for you, but I don't. But just so when you look in here, you can see the bypass valves. Right now this is in camping mode, so it's ready to be used, but you have the valves there. This is your water pump. That valve all the way to the back there you're looking at, that switch is between the, remember I showed you the port where you draw the antifreeze in? That switch is between that port and the fresh water tank. Right now it's the valve's in a position so it'll draw from the fresh water tank. Before you draw antifreeze in, for example, you would bypass the water heater and you would put the valve in the position to where it draws antifreeze through that port. So, okay, that's how you access that. Excuse me. I'll pick up the pace. I only have so much time with this camera before it starts a new file. This couch jackknifes flat. You got a table back here, all right? Your refrigerator is a 12-volt DC refrigerator, so it runs on, it's got a compressor, but it runs on 12 volt. Of course, your microwave works like any other microwave. And this is a GFCI here. All the plugs in the trailer are wired through a GFCI, even the one on the outside. So if you're using the one outside and it pops, you're going to reset it here. The sink works like any other sink. The toilet sits right over a black tank like all RV toilets. You can't use it empty. By empty, I'm talking about the black tank directly below. So when you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water. Then you're going to put a dose of chemical in the bowl. Then you'll put at least a gallon of water in the tank below and you're ready to use it. You can't use it dry. If you don't do that, that's considered using it dry, and the smell will be terrible, plus it'll get clogged up. So you always want to start off with chemical and water in the tank, at least a gallon of water, okay? Now this here is your shower miser. This is just a recirculating pump. It just loops the water around from the water heater, the water pump, and here, around and around and around. The idea is, if you're, let me put this up here. If you're camping in an area where there's a drought, for example, put it like this, instead of just letting the fresh water, the perfectly good fresh water, go down the drain while you're letting it heat up for the shower, it just circulates it so you don't waste any, and it keeps heating up. Therefore, you don't waste good fresh water in drought conditions, and you don't waste storage in your gray tank with good water. It just, you know, sending it down there for no reason. So when you turn it on, it'll cycle around in a loop, and this will turn beige when it gets hot. You'll see a dramatic change in the color of this piece right here. That's how you know it's the water's heated up, and then you go to regular position, and you have hot water without wasting any. So that's what that's about. As always, you can read the literature or go to their websites and learn more. Okay, you have a 4-speed fan here with and there's a cover over the fan, so you can even keep it open during the rain, whatever. But you crank it up and down this way, as you can see, going up and down. And then you have your 4 speeds, so it's a really good fan. And at the time of year when you start to get condensation from your breath, for example, if you got a bunch of people over and you're having an issue with it, it's rare in this trailer, but if all the conditions are right, and you can just put that fan on low, for example, it'll pull it all out, you'll never have an issue. So keep that in mind. Let me look around and see what else I've got here. This is the emergency window. It works like most of them do. You're just going to push this all the way through, and then you grab hold of the red tab and pull the screen out if it's an emergency. The controls for your air conditioner are on the unit. Works like a window air conditioner. The thermostat's up all the way. That's pretty much how you do it. You have the first 2 speeds are just the fan running without the compressor to circulate air. The second 2 are cooling, low and high. That's air conditioning. You have shades here, of course. Alrighty, smoke detector. And remember I told you about the carbon monoxide LP gas detector. You always want that glowing green. If it's not green, get it serviced. And last but not least, over here at the control panel, as you can see, the water pump is on right now. I told you could pump water out of the fresh water tank. You would do that there. You also use this water pump to winterize the trailer. To light your water heater on gas is right there. To turn on the electric heating element is right here. Remember I told you never run it without water in it. You have tank heaters, so you have heating pads on all your holding tanks. So you turn that on and it extends your camping season. They won't freeze up as quick. I mean, you can get through most weather just by using that. Your slide room, your awning, like so. Never leave the awning out unattended if you're not going to be at the campsite. Roll it in. That's for your slide room, and then your lights here, and of course all your levels right there. Okay. All right. I think that does it. These are your keys right here. Everything's keyed alike, so that's good. You don't need a bunch of keys. You just need the one. So, okay, I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof. Keep after that. It should be part of your regular maintenance. And right now, this trailer's ready to be camped in. There's antifreeze has been purged from the system, replaced with fresh water. Your water heater is in camping mode, and it's got water in it. Never run the water heater without water in the tank, okay? Thank you very much.